Cassidy Blake had the kind of life people envied. A beautiful house in Charleston, a husband with a six-figure job, 2 kids in private school, and a golden retriever named Moose. Her Instagram feed was a dreamy collection of family barbecues, beach vacations, and morning coffees on the porch with her husband, Darren. To outsiders, they were the definition of perfection. But Cassidy knew the cracks. Knew how silence had replaced laughter. How Darren had started working late. How he now slept with his phone under his pillow. How intimacy had become rare, almost transactional. She ignored it for months. Told herself every marriage had dry spells. That raising kids and managing a home could dull even the brightest spark. But in the back of her mind, something whispered, he's hiding something. And one rainy Thursday morning, she found out what. It began with an anonymous message. A DM on her Instagram. Check the number saved as Martin from work. He's not who you think he is. Cassidy stared at the message, her stomach tightening. At first, she ignored it. Thought it was spam, but the unease stayed with her. That night, when Darren was in the shower, she picked up his phone. Martin from work had sent dozens of texts. But they weren't about work. I miss your arms. Last night was heaven. I hate lying to her. I wish we could just be together. Cassidy's throat closed. Her world blurred. It felt like drowning in a sea she didn't know she'd stepped into. She scrolled further. Photos. Of the woman. Of Darren, smiling in ways he hadn't smiled at her in years. Kissing. Traveling. She set the phone down carefully, like it might explode. And that night, she didn't sleep. She stared at the ceiling, replaying the past 5 years. The little absences. The fights over nothing. The way he never looked her in the eyes anymore. Cassidy wasn't impulsive. She didn't throw his clothes on the lawn or scream. She didn't tell him she knew. Not yet. Instead, she began her own silent war. She hired a private investigator. Followed the digital trails. Cross-referenced hotel receipts and work trips. And what she found wasn't just infidelity, it was a second life. Darren had been seeing the same woman for over 3 years. Her name was Natalie Wells. She lived in Savannah, a photographer, single, beautiful, and completely unaware Darren was married with kids. Worse, Darren had promised her he was getting a divorce. That Cassidy was controlling. That they'd emotionally separated long ago. Cassidy's rage boiled. But still, she waited. She began recording conversations, photographing documents, collecting evidence, because when she finally confronted Darren, she wasn't going to ask for the truth. She was going to show it. She planned it for their 12th wedding anniversary. Cassidy invited Darren to dinner at a beautiful oceanside restaurant. He was surprised, but flattered. She wore the same dress she'd worn on their honeymoon, ordered his favorite wine, made him laugh. And halfway through dessert, she handed him a leather-bound folder. "What's this?" he asked, smiling. "An anniversary gift," she said. Inside, photos of him and Natalie. Screenshots of messages, hotel bookings, and a copy of the subpoena her lawyer had already filed. His face drained of color. I can explain." "You don't need to," she said, standing. "You already did. For 3 years." She walked out, heels clicking like gunshots. Divorce was messy. Darren begged at first, then grew bitter, tried to manipulate the narrative, accused her of being cold, of not trying hard enough. But Cassidy had receipts. The court sided with her. She got the house, primary custody, alimony, but more importantly, she got the truth. Natalie found out too. She showed up at Cassidy's door one rainy afternoon, trembling and tearful. "I didn't know," she said. "I'm so sorry." Cassidy nodded. "I know. It wasn't your lie." They stood in silence, 2 women shattered by the same man. Natalie moved away. Cassidy stayed. She repainted the house, started a podcast about healing through betrayal. Her story resonated. Women from around the world wrote to her. "You helped me leave. You gave me strength. You reminded me I deserve more." Cassidy wasn't bitter. She was awake. 2 years later, she published a memoir, Shattered Lies. It hit bestseller lists within weeks. Talk shows, interviews, features. But her favorite thing? A quiet morning, coffee in hand, Moose snoring at her feet, her daughters laughing in the kitchen. Peace. Not the fake kind she once posted online. The kind that comes from knowing the truth, and surviving it.